Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm the creator of the Hope for a Better Marriage Patreon and Facebook group. It is for women who are looking to transform their marriages. If you could like, subscribe, share to help support my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. I just want women to be supported in their marriage and not to be alone and struggling. Okay, so this is part of my series on the Laura Doyle Empowered Wife tools and skills, kind of little explanation, giving some caveats because I have been helping women implement these skills for about 4 years, and I have seen a lot about how these work amazing and then other ways in which they can be used improperly that don't have the desired outcome. Okay, so ouch. That is a Laura Doyle vulnerability tool that is very powerful, but it is meant to be used in specific scenarios. And again, you can read about this more in depth in The Empowered Wife. There's an audiobook. Laura Doyle also has a podcast, The Empowered Wife, if you want to get. And I suggest doing all those, listening to the audiobook, reading the book, and listening to the podcast to really learn as much as you can, and then joining a group of like-minded women so that you can have the support you need as you implement these skills. So, ouch is meant to be used when your husband says something mean, he says something cruel. It is meant to be used sparingly because it is a powerful tool. It is meant for you to just say, ouch, and leave the room so that that is hanging there and your husband has to sit with whatever he said or did. And instead of you escalating and maybe, saying hurtful things back, getting defensive, which just puts him on the defensive, that can really stop him in his tracks. And it's vulnerability. It can be quiet, calm, female vulnerability. It's not getting masculine, because when you argue, you get masculine, and that does not soften your husband. That will just escalate his testosterone and his emotions. So, ouch is a very powerful tool, but it can be misused. It can be overused. So, this is not one that I used a lot. Sometimes I will just be quiet, which it can have a similar effect, but it's not quite as powerful as ouch. So, when should you use ouch? And when shouldn't you? So, ouch, I would suggest to use, like I said, when your husband is getting cruel, when he's being mean, when he's crossing a line. So, if your husband is like yelling at you and not, so men can raise their voice, they can talk a little sternly. And especially if you're not used to it, like if you're newlywed, or say you had more even tempered men in your life and your husband is a little more gruff, I don't know, just maybe even just more masculine, where he just talks like, I have a husband where people think he's angry when he's not. He can have sometimes his serious face can look angry. He can come across angry when he's not. That created a lot of challenges in our early marriage. So men can talk stern and they can be commanding, but they're not being mean. So it's really important to kind of recognize, like, okay, am I having like this oversensitive reaction, but my husband's just, being a little bit stern? He's not necessarily like, so if he's like, just saying like, hey, if he's yelling like, kids, clean up the mess or something like that, or if he's frustrated, like, where's this? I can't find this. Like, if he raises his voice a little bit, that is different than when he starts name calling, berating you, attacking your character. So you can see that there's a difference. And that, when he's getting mean, when he's getting cruel, when he's crossing a line like that, that is when you say, ouch. Sometimes you might even need to say, which I talk about in my Power Wives Aren't Doormat video, I can't be spoken to this way. Leave the room. Leave the house if he won't stop following you. But ouch is not meant to be used when your husband is just a little like, irritated, irritable, grumpy, and he's just speaking in a little bit of a gruff manner. That's not really when it's meant to be used. If your husband, like, if you're maybe having a conflict and your husband like leaves or he kind of shuts down, that's not a time to say ouch either. I talk about this in another one of my videos as well, Simple Tools for Conflict Management, that when men leave an argument or an escalating situation, they're actually doing a good thing because they're trying to calm themselves down and prevent themselves from hurting you. So although we can view it as abandonment and we can get our emotions, raised, our anxiety raised because we want to have, communion, we want to have intimacy, he's actually doing the right thing. So that is not a time to use ouch. That is a time to recognize that what he's doing is good. So you want to use ouch when he's being cruel.